Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright. Yep.
Yeah. I got something.
That's
for
amazing.
I
love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
Welcome in, everybody. It's a Wednesday night edition, Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, our first show of the new year of the Lazy Booking Podcast, live here on A2D Radio. I'm Chrome, and as always, I'm joined by my buddy, old pal over here, Mr. Eric Archer. What's up, my guy?
What's happening? Happy New Year. It looks like you got a Photoshop background. You got the city skyscrapers right behind you. It looks official.
Yeah, man. Yeah, listen, it's well, it is like this is real, right? I feel like I'm on like First Take or something like that. They have video backgrounds. Mine's
You made it. You made it.
No, I made it. It's a beautiful Philadelphia skyline too, anyway. But we're happy to be with you guys. Thank you so much. Apologize, we did not do a show yesterday. These holidays, listen, things shift around. It's a crazy time. So I can assure you we're going to be settling back into our regular time next week. But for this week, yeah, we kind of were all over the place. So here we are, Wednesday night, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, January 7th, 2026. And last night, or I'm sorry, 2 nights ago, see, already we're doing it. 2 nights ago, we had the Raw 1-year anniversary on Netflix with a Stranger Things crossover. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a variety of topics from Monday Night Raw. Obviously we had what may have been the saving grace for the show, the main event between CM Punk and Bron Breakker. We're going to talk about that match. We're going to talk about AJ Styles confronting Gunther, who continues to disrespect John Cena, as well as Becky Lynch regaining her Intercontinental title from Maxxine. We had new tag team champions, Liv returning to the ring. And obviously, we had a couple little things on SmackDown. We had NXT talent signing or basically setting their places over the last week. So lots to talk about. We'll touch on some of that in the hot tag segment today. But let's show a little love to our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find him in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. So any aches, pains, anything brand new, anything long-lasting, contact him and his award-winning team. They'll take a look at you. They'll get you set up on a program with a nice analysis, and we're going to get you back to your best potential physical peak. Once more, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Eric.
Chrome.
Let's let everybody know, too, they can find us and A2D Radio on Instagram and other social media platforms. That's Insta right there at A2D Radio and at Lazy Booking Podcast, as well as for us. We're going to have quite a bit of exclusive A2D content that's going to be, exclusive Lazy Booking Podcast TV content that's going to be coming down the pike in the next probably week or two. Some stuff before Rumble. We're going to make some announcements on that next week with some dates on some things we're going to get in. So please make sure you guys head over to our YouTube page, Lazy Booking Pod TV, and give us a follow. Share it out to anybody.
Please.
Yeah, check out some of the reels and other things that we have on there. And we also repost this show the following day or late at night after it airs live here on A2D Radio. And again, make sure we're following A2D on all social media platforms. Let's get in. Anybody out there, please join our conversation. That's what makes us go round. We love it. We're going to talk about these topics, and our opening topic from Specialized Physical Therapy is Bron Breakker's loss to CM Punk on WWE Raw negatively affects his character development. Do you agree or disagree? Eric, what are your thoughts on this one, buddy?
So first off, I think you hit the nail on the head where this match kind of salvaged Raw.
What a letdown, man. We were so
Yeah.
in for this show. We talked about it ahead of time. And even without, the potential return early that we discussed last week, the potential was on the table for this show. But man, I mean, I could have I forced myself to watch this Monday night because I felt like I can't go Tuesday without actually knowing what happened. And boy, I could have waited till Wednesday to watch it. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah. I watched the first hour live amidst a dozen commercials. I'm being sarcastic, but I mean, it just felt like, and I don't know if it's the Netflix. When it first went to Netflix, for some reason, I wasn't getting commercials. And I guess I got spoiled because now these commercials are just, they feel like they take over the show, where it's like they get a little bit of momentum and then it's all right, go to commercial. And it's like 2 per match sometimes. I mean, this match, I think, may have been at least 2, maybe 3 commercials. It took almost an hour between the entrances and the match and what happened at the end. Good match, very good match. I was very impressed with Bron Breakker. Got a lot of good move sets in. I love that off the top rope move onto the announce table. I thought that was pretty awesome. I know he's getting some flack on. There's, internet wrestling community always has to have something to say, and the Frankensteiner, the people think it's a botch. I personally don't think it was. I think Punk was supposed to push him off, and it kind of went the way it was supposed to go. But neither here nor there. The match was good, and I was entertained by it. As far as the poll goes, I disagree. I don't think this hurts him at all. I think he put on a very good showing. We talked about it last week where we didn't think he was going to win this match. I didn't think it was going to be a clean pinfall, but Bron had a good showing. And I think, especially in this day and age with WWE and the fans, I think losses are taken a little out of control. Now, Drew McIntyre's got a gripe because he loses every big match, but losing one match to the World Heavyweight Champion is not something that's going to hurt his character. I actually think it could help his character, but we'll see what happens next week, how he responds. And like I said last week, I think this match was going to have meat on the bone. And I think it does still have meat on the bone. I would love to see these two go at it again. Do we see it Saturday night's main event? Do we see it at Royal Rumble? Do we see it at WrestleMania? All 3 could happen, and I'd be fine with it. I think Bron is on his way up, and he's solidifying himself as somebody that belongs in a main event picture. So I don't think it hurts him at all. I actually think it could help him a little bit. And we talk about this with baby faces and not having adversity, but I think Bron showing some adversity and being humbled a little bit, thinking it was going to be easy to beat CM Punk at War Games. I think this maybe humble him a little bit and anger him. Like I said, we'll see what happens in the next couple weeks, how he responds and how he gets his return match.
Yeah, listen, I'm on the fence with it. I was convinced that this might go. I mean, we talked about last week, right? It wasn't something I necessarily felt like he needed to have right this moment because of how young he is, because of the character development, the arc. He doesn't need it off the bat. I just felt like the match was so beautifully booked for him to have that moment. I'll be honest, when you talk about the false finishes, I thought for sure the match was booked where he was going to win. I do worry. Listen, I don't know if it was a botch or not, but a lot of his stuff can look very clunky and dangerous. So I can't ignore Whether that was a botch or not, we don't know definitively. But I can't ignore the fact this is not the first time this man has like landed on his neck. So I worry about some of that. He's unbelievably talented. The speed, the power, the charisma, even in just his physical movement in the ring is there. But him and that level of energy that he has, I worry being so young, there's a feeling of invincibility where you need to be more careful. So the fact that we're even questioning it, Eric, means there's an issue there with some of the in-ring work. And listen, I think he's a tremendous in-ring performer. This match was another home run for him. That being said, I just thought the match was booked for him to win. This was one of those matches for WWE where in a company where I believe a lot of false finishes are kind of obvious. I felt like some of them are really, really good here. They were tight with kickouts. They told a great story in ring, which you can do, old buddy, old pal Vince Russo. I love Vince, by the way. We miss Vince, right? He's like our buddy now. I just thought they told a really good story in the ring. I really thought that this was going to go Bron's way. No, listen, at the end of the day, he's so young, he doesn't need it. But people were pissed, man. I think maybe the poll question would have been more of, did CM Punk need to continue to be champion?
I would have agreed to the poll only because, believe it or not, that's his first televised World Heavyweight title defense.
Oh, shit. I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking at it that way, I mean, he's had the title since November. Was that November? Very beginning of November? Whenever that Saturday Night's Main Event was. But that's his first title defense on TV. And I think I've been critical of the title defenses, the lack of title defenses with all the titles. You know, you see it on the women's side and we're seeing it right now with Stephanie Vaquer, and it could be an injury, a legit injury. But I think the championships, although the reigns are longer, that defenses are few and far between, especially on Raw. So I think for Punk, he deserves it. First off, I think, you know, getting to that point where he finally got to the top and finally reached his goal.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I agree that I think Bron's ready, but I also think this match still helps him because he looked as dangerous as he looked. The match was believable. I know the neck is a little bit concerning, and hopefully the agent that worked that match is telling him that after, and I'm sure they are, but I think he's believable. And like I said, I think next week and the week after are going to tell the story of Bron Breakker more than the match itself, because how's he going to react? How's he going to respond? And how's he going to get back to that title picture? Because clearly we both think that he could be in the main event, one of the main events of WrestleMania as champion or challenging for it. I think he needs to respond and may not necessarily, I'm sure it'll be directed towards Punk, but he needs to respond in a way that is impactful and shows that he still belongs in that picture.
I mean, the one thing I worry about coming out of this is, you know, he's kind of become the unspoken leader, the number one prospect of the team when it comes to the vision, right? And I would make an argument for Bronson, but most people wouldn't make an argument for Bronson Reed because WWE has strategically positioned Braun to be this guy right now. So do we like how does the group move forward when they say that Seth didn't share the vision, Seth couldn't get it done, that Seth this, Seth that, blah, blah, blah. And then you see Braun, who is supposed to be that next guy, and then he loses in this spot after talking a big game. And also you can make the argument, how did he earn that spot more than Bronson Reed did? What did he have, a pin at War Games with a masked guy who jumped the cage? Bronson Reed took out the tribal chief and owned him in a feud. The man who held the title for 4 years. So that is kind of where my doubt creeps in a little bit of, we're talking about entitlement here because your last name is Steiner, as opposed to like, are we going to maintain this storyline continuity of this, right?
Yeah.
Are we overlooking, because his last name is Steiner, the stuff that the group didn't overlook with Seth? I don't know, because it's just interesting. So again, I do disagree to the poll. I don't think it should negatively affect him. I'm saying should, strategically.
Yeah, to me, and I'm stressing this because I think it's very, very important how he reacts, how they have his character go, what direction on Raw in Germany. Does he attack Punk? Does he humiliate Punk? Does he do both? Does he has to make a statement. And I'm sure there'll be some promos in the back where they're backstage and Heyman's like, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? And I'm curious to see how that goes. And I believe that that's where they're going to go next, because I think that Punk and Braun is happening again in the very near future. So I would be shocked if there's not some interaction where Braun gets the upper hand on Punk over the next few weeks.
Maybe. I don't know if I'm completely convinced of that. My confidence or my suspicion that Braun wins the Rumble has increased compared to where you guys were at, where I think you guys were, looking at this as a more viable possibility than I was. But I do think, watching how this is all playing out, I'm getting more and more closer to kind of joining the alliance with you guys, you and Andy, who's been on the show and helped us out.
I've actually been kind of more on the fence of him getting the championship match at the Royal Rumble. I kind of thought that was where they were going, but when they announced that match on the 5th, it kind of got me thinking if he wasn't, because I didn't think he was going to win the match. I thought it was going to be I thought that Vision run-in was kind of the end there, and they were going to have a complete schmozz. However, it didn't go that way. So now I'm kind of like, either one could happen. They could do the rematch at the Royal Rumble, or they could just have Braun enter the Rumble and have Punk maybe he doesn't defend the title at the Rumble. Maybe he sits it out and waits for his challenger, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But anyway, this, again, we'll say this. Strong performance for him on a big stage with a lot of eyes on him. I think that's, if anything, maybe this is, and I know he's had a number of high-profile matches. And in terms of what the NXT universe is, he's been on a number of their PLEs in the main event. But I do think, if we're looking at, is this the dress audition, right, for what a main event, and if he could step up in the main event and what that will look like, this is it. I think he succeeded. Again, tremendous match. I think that the chemistry between these two guys is really good. And guess what? I think he made Punk look just as good as Punk made him look, which is a highlight and a credit to both men. And again, so when we talk about the schmozzy finishes, right? We have the Vision that come out and they interfere in this match. And I just loved what they did in terms of having the luchadors kind of come out and run interference. You thought Paul Heyman was going to cost Punk again. Is this going to be the same old thing? I'm telling you, the drama, they had me kind of sucked in there. I was convinced at first that Braun's winning. Then I was like, oh my God. They got me rooting for Punk now, because I'm like, I don't want to see the same old thing. And then I was kind of back and forth on. I mean, they had my emotions going, and that's what we're looking at for the potential of success. So, yeah, really impressive match, really impressive showing by both guys. Any notes on that before we move on?
No, I agree. I kind of thought maybe we would see Seth Rollins make his return. It was maybe a possibility where he would cost Braun the championship, but why would he help Punk? So I think that's kind of in their back pocket where they could bring him back whenever, because he seems like he's been around doing Good Morning Football and been out and about doing interviews. So I mean, he looks like he's.
I think he was on Busted Open yesterday with Becky.
Yeah,
I didn't listen yet.
I didn't either. So I think it's a matter of time before we see him back, and I'd be surprised now at this point if we don't see him at WrestleMania in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, listen, I hope so. It would definitely be ahead of schedule for the injury that he had. I didn't expect him to interfere. I think that what we discussed a few weeks ago is where this ends up going, with the Vision eventually winning the tag team titles. And I almost feel like it's going to be like an Austin HBK situation where the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Two common foes end up being on the same team, on the same side. They team together to take down, the evil new group of fresh, hungry upstarts and humble them. And I think that's where we end up going. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. I'd be really interested to see where this takes Bronson in the next couple of weeks, as you said, and where Paul Heyman comes into play with this, because to me, the hype train's been put behind him, and the job did not get done. And with the promos that
I think it's going to be critical. Paul Heyman is one that is synonymous for bringing out the best in, Roman Reigns and the bloodline. So I think it's it seems like a perfect way to incorporate him into the story of these guys, especially now that their leader has lost and now they have to regroup.
All right, I'm back. You can hear me? Yeah, sorry. Technical difficulties. Listen, obviously I'm not home, right? So I'm relying on the Wi-Fi.
We're live, pal. We're live, pal.
We're live, pal. We're live, pal. Yeah, so I don't know. It said my mic unplugged and muted, and I obviously clearly, guys, my hands are here. I didn't unplug nothing. But yeah, so moving on, let's get to I think the second biggest event. You can agree with me or disagree with me on this. AJ Styles. So Gunther has this promo. It's kind of the same thing we've seen with Pierce. Pierce tells him maybe he should humble himself. He's really making a lot of enemies behind the scenes, both that he knows and that he doesn't know about. So AJ Styles, and I clearly couldn't type today. AJ Styles comes out and confronts Gunther. And it's one of those, and I always love when they do this. I don't know why. Somebody starts talking, they talk over top of them. Someone starts talking, they interrupt them. AJ's getting pissed every time he opens his mouth. Gunther kind of continues his sentence. He ends up calling John Cena, tapping out like a bitch again. And then he gets AJ's face and he says, "What are you going to do about it?" And AJ wails him. Hell of a slap in the face. And obviously Gunther reacts. They get face to face. It almost looked like they headbutted each other.
Yeah.
The emotion, the intensity of the moment, I felt like was very strong. But is this the right moment? This is my worry here. Are we going twofold here, Eric? I'm going to take the lead on this.
Go for it.
Biggest faults on this. I worry twofold. Are we confronting the elephant in the room that Gunther is a ungrateful monster heel at this point, instead of let's let him continue to do this and disrespect Cena and disrespect others for another, like, let's do it at least to the Rumble. My other worry is, and we talked about this last week, I laid out this program how it needed to go last week. These two should not even be touching each other. I need this to get to WrestleMania. I need this man to be the one who AJ gets retired by at the end. Like, it just feels very anxious. Unless AJ ain't saying nothing and he's retiring it sooner than later. But why have the match? Why have the match? Why is it on Raw? It's not even a PLE. What the hell?
We're on the same page, dude. I'm hoping that this match is some sort of like disqualification or something. It's one thing that we're not seeing with Gunther that I kind of miss. And I don't know if it's just being outshined by this whole Cena thing, because I think it's really good. I love the shirt. I think it's very creative, and I'm sure they're selling. But I kind of miss the vicious Gunther, in that he's just all talk and kind of just like laughing and joking. And I would just like to see him beat the tar out of AJ in a disqualification type way, just like lay him out and then have this match down the road. I'm hopeful that's kind of where they're going. I don't think they are. Maybe it's because they're going to Germany and they want to get the European crowd involved. I don't know. I wouldn't think AJ would retire this soon, but we don't know that answer. But I would be very hard pressed to see this end on Raw. I don't know if they get to the ring, maybe he attacks him before the match or what, but I want to see Gunther's mean streak. I kind of miss that. I think you can have both, where you could have the multiple personality and be laughing and joking, and then, hey, you know what? I'm still as serious as I was before, and I'm gonna chop you. I'm gonna make your chest red, and I'm gonna well you with some chairs. And I think we need to see that, because I think the crowd would boo him that much more if he laid out AJ like that. So I like what they're doing with Gunther, but I miss that mean streak in him, where it worked so well before and it was believable, that I kind of wish they would bring some of that back on top of what they're doing with him. Yeah, listen,
I love the trolling of John Cena. I think it's great. I think this is the kind of braggadocious behavior that you earn when you are the man who retires John Cena. And it's so important for the character development to continue doing this. I just think that AJ is such a monster name. Whether or not he's at the same level that he was 5 or 6 years ago is irrelevant. He's a tremendous worker. He's a highly anticipated performer who people, are feeling, grateful and want to see have, similar to Cena, a very successful final year in the industry. And he still works at a much higher level even than what John Cena did. So I think that when you look at the potential of the matches and you look at the potential of who is deserving, this is where I think Gunther falls into place. So to give it away early, give it away on free TV, this is Bischoff and Goldberg, with Goldberg and Hogan. All right, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's a big moment. It is a big moment. It is a big moment. This is the guy that retired Cena. This is his second match back, because you had him take down Truth in rather simple fashion. I just like what. So what are we doing with AJ here? Are we sacrificing him? Is this what's going to happen? Where he's going to be the sacrificial lamb now in his last year? Like we gave him that tag team title run. That's his big moment, and now he's going to put everybody over because I don't want that. If that's what we get here, I've been like hardcore against those AEW rumors of him going there when he leaves WWE. I would be an advocate for it. Like if that's what we're gonna get, give me a year in AEW. Let me see you with Omega one more time. Let me see you with Ospreay and Swerve Strickland and MJF. I mean, the promos you get. I've kind of been against it because I don't feel like. Yeah, maybe you're like me, Aaron. I don't need somebody necessarily to have their whole career here, but I do feel like when a guy establishes himself, say a guy started his career somewhere, made a name for himself. He comes to the Eagles. I want to see him retire an Eagle. It's kind of what, I want to see him retire, a Panther, whatever the hell your team is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with AJ, hopefully they've seen what wrongs were done during the Cena tour and take that into account. Not to say that Cena didn't have good matches, and a lot of that was out of his control. But I think AJ deserves, just like Cena deserved, he deserved to go out with his head held high, that he gave all that he could. And yeah, you want to give back to the business, but at the same time, there needs to be a line drawn to where it's more glorified jobbing and him getting legit opportunities to put on good matches and even go over in certain situations. Gunther, I don't expect him to go over at the end of the story, at the end of the arc. But because of where they're at with Gunther and kind of his moniker now of putting people to pasture, putting them out of their misery and sending them off into retirement. So, but I think AJ deserves a lot more than that. And yeah, he didn't start his career in WWE, but he's been there almost 10 years. He's been there 10 years now, right? It's pretty close to it. So for this younger generation of new fans, they only know him with WWE. So he's made a name in the WWE as just that. He's somebody that delivers every time he's out there, whether he's asked to be a heel or a babyface. He has the respect and the admiration of the fans, and I think he deserves a proper send-off, just like John Cena. But hopefully, it's not as dramatic as tapping out and all that. I'm sure it won't be, but I think AJ deserves a good showing on the way out.
Yeah, listen, just for reference to the viewers and everybody out there, AJ's debut was January 24th, 2016. So we're coming up on 10 years.
Yeah, it was Royal Rumble in Orlando.
What's up, Greg? Listen, we got a number of viewers out there. We appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, follow, and most importantly, join our conversation like Greg here. Get in the chat. We've had an extremely active chat the last 3 or 4 weeks. Not so much today, and I know a lot of people didn't know we were doing a show. So there's enough of you guys in there. Get in on the conversation. Drop your comments and your takes on all this. We want to hear from you guys.
Tell me I'm wrong, and I'll say I'm right. I'm always
wrong,
right.
And I'll tell you why you're more. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to see. I don't think he's going to get the kind of John Cena treatment. No. You know what I mean? And listen, I mean, when I say that, I'm not talking about the big pop and circumstance and T-shirts made in every city, which, by the way, they're still doing. They're still making Cena merch. Last night there was a Stranger. The other night there was a Stranger Things Cena shirt, which is
why not capitalize?
I get it. But with that being said, I mean, he's a Legends deal too, right? So they still have his merch rights. But that being said, I just don't want to see this be a situation where, similar to, we gave Cena the Intercontinental title at the end. We gave AJ in the beginning. We gave him his reward. We're good now. We're gonna have you do the job going forward.
Yeah.
Especially because he's missed a lot of time of injuries over the last couple of years. Women's division had quite a development over the week. Listen, 2 new champions. Well, 3 women, 2 titles change hands. As obviously we saw Rhea Ripley and Io Sky capture the women's tag team championships to open that first anniversary of Raw show over the Kabuki Warriors. And then on the flip side, we have Becky Lynch, who we're big fans and advocates for, and her work that she's done as of late. She recaptures the Intercontinental championship from Maxxine Dupri in a match that was not I'm going to say this. I think Becky works tremendous with everybody. I think Maxxine has been very, very good as of late. I don't like the chemistry between these two in the ring. I feel like it's happened twice in a row. I've seen her work with Ivy Nile, Maxxine, and a number of other talent, and you could see the progression and the development. I think the Becky matches have been clunky and awkward, and there's been spots that are missed, spots that are not clean. I don't love the chemistry in ring. I was fine with the promos and the story in. The in-ring chemistry is not there for me. But that being said, I want to get your thoughts on Becky Lynch recapturing the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, it's clear that we're heading towards WrestleMania and AJ Lee with Becky Lynch. So I'm not complaining too much. But before I jump in here, we'll let you jump in here. Let's get your thoughts on this, both for Becky Lynch and for Maxxine Dupri.
Yeah, so I said, I think we talked about it a few weeks ago where we were, happy for Maxxine and her story of, going from NFL cheerleader to Intercontinental Women's Champion, and she's definitely put in the work both in the ring and in her promos. I think her promos have been excellent. I think the promo from last week was very strong. She did a really nice job. She's very confident, and I really like what I saw. I definitely did not like what I saw on Monday with that match, and I agree with you. And I would not, and I think it's very unfair to put that all on Maxxine. Of course, she's going to get the brunt of the blame because she's the more green and more inexperienced competitor out of the two. But there were some spots in that match. I think there's one that I saw where she was doing that. She had her on her back and I guess that backbreaker sort of thing. And you see Becky no sell it and didn't help her at all. And I'm not, I don't want to bash either two. I have way less experience than they do, and they're the professionals, and not every match is going to be perfect, and I think they're trying, but I think the chemistry is a little suspect. I think to my concern now, and you hit it right on the head, Becky is on a collision course with AJ at WrestleMania. Is there a stopgap in between? Probably. Maybe we see a rematch with Maxxine, but I'm curious to see where they go with Maxxine for this. If you look at I'd say the last several years, most baby faces after they win a championship, it's hard for them to get back to that status. And I don't think Maxxine is going to win another championship anytime soon, but I hope that they don't bury her in the story, no story, and kind of there needs to be a direction for her. And I mean, Natty is probably a legitimate solution to that possibly. But I just hope that they give Maxxine another opportunity to shine, because I don't think that was either one of their better performances. I think the crowd didn't help either. I think the crowd was extremely dead for Brooklyn for that match. Maybe they went and got popcorn or something, but they definitely were not into that match at all. And I think they both deserve another chance to show what they've got. And I think we will get a rematch in between, maybe, but I don't think, I think we know kind of where Becky's going. We've kind of known that since AJ returned, where that was kind of going. So I'm curious to just see especially where Maxxine goes next. There you go.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Good to hear all you guys out.
Hey.
Listen, I think that my concern would be that they have built Maxxine up solely for the intention of making her a viable opponent to fill time for Becky Lynch. So hopefully not. I would like to see Maxxine continue to develop, continue to grow. I don't need a rematch, not anytime soon in WWE. You're not supposed to be guaranteed rematches. I don't want that yet. Not for Maxxine. We've seen it twice. The chemistry is not there. We could go the lazy route again. We can go Natalya, the mentor and the mentee, and I don't think I need that either. Maybe a tag title opportunity. I'd be okay with that. I'm not as focused on Maxxine. I think this did as good as you could get from Maxxine out of this. So I think at this point, we get to the Rumble. We see what goes down there. I'm going to tell you, I said to myself yesterday or the other night when I was watching Raw, and I realized Tiffany Stratton has not been on television since she dropped the title, which is great, by the way. I'm sure she's going to be a Rumble entrant. Keep her off of TV the rest of the time. But man, I mean, I think it's going to be refreshing. I hope she comes back as a heel. Give me that back, and let's see where we go.
Random and put her on Raw.
Yeah, random drop in on that. 100%. Yeah, we need to shake it up with her. But listen, Becky's been great. I think it's the direction we go. What I don't like, she's not someone that needs the title yet. I think we could have kept going to January, the end of January when we get to Rumble, maybe to have this match. But I wanted to continue to develop the conspiracy theories. Everyone's against her. If she's winning matches, then I don't feel the sympathy. So putting her in a position to now hold the title to me hurts the character in the direction that we've been saying that we're going. So I would have rather have seen her not have the title till maybe an elimination chamber. And then that sets and she is somebody who could have a short 1.5 month title run and it doesn't hurt her and go in and drop the title to AJ. But we put the title on her too early, continue to develop the Jessica Carr story, unless she drops it again and then gets it back again, which, you know what? I'll tell you this, Eric. We talk about this with Nick and other people that we know. My favorite title to watch right now is the United States title because of how frequently they have switched that title and how valuable that they've made that title on SmackDown with frequent matches and people wanting to jump into the open challenge. We say this all the time. Fighting. Look at MMA. You win a match or you win a fight. Sometimes you drop the title the next fight. Sometimes you don't get in that past the first defense or the second defense. I think wrestling needs more of that, especially if we're going to put the main event titles. Do it with your secondary, not just with the men's, but do it with the women's. You want to hot potato this till we get to Mania? Awesome. I'm for it. Give another woman an opportunity.
Lyra.
Ivy. Lyra.
You've got plenty of sounds like NXT call-ups are coming.
I want to say Mia Yim, but I keep forgetting
Mi Chin.
Mi Chin. I can't not say Mia Yim. Reach in, step them up. Let's go, roll them out.
Absolutely. Going back to Becky real quick, I do like, and you brought up the conspiracy stuff. She cheated blatantly to win. And now she's like, I didn't cheat. She can play that. And she's playing it online where she won clean and she didn't. So I think the conspiracies can continue, but I hope, to your point, that they can kind of, the easiest way to do it would be for her to not be champion, but now she's going to have to be creative in that maybe her conspiracies can be who she wrestles next, like maybe AJ. Oh, she didn't beat anybody, and kind of play it that way. But I agree.
Yeah,
hopefully,
and maybe it brings the best out of her creatively because she has to go a different route. Maybe not setting it up on the tee is the way to go. But I'd be really interested to see where we go from here. But to me, right now, she's the most intriguing female character going, and I'm excited for her. We have new women's tag team champions. Just quick thoughts on this before we move to hot tag.
Yeah, absolutely love what they're doing with the tag division in the women's. We've talked about it, you and I, offline for years, where the tag titles mean nothing, but you have 4 legitimate teams that are vying for those titles. Now, last week I was kind of souring a little bit on Rhea and Io, and kind of figured they were probably destined to win the tag titles. I'm fine with that for now, but I think that is going to continue to. It's going to be interesting how they end those groups, because there's always in the annals of tag team wrestling, there's always one doesn't like the other for whatever reason. One costs someone the other, and it'd be curious to see where that goes. But I think the next challengers probably are going to be Charlotte and Alexa, or Lash and Nia Jax, which is great. I think putting them on SmackDown now that it's 3 hours, you can utilize that time to catapult the tag division again and give them opportunity to shine. So I'm all for it, and I'm really I'm really into the division right now. It's really good. So hopefully it continues.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've had a lot of turnover in the women's division. We had the United States title get switched about a week and a half ago too. So there's been some turnover, been some top names knocked off. I'm not opposed to this, right? So I was not in the same situation as you in terms of, are we like ready for Rhea to jump back into the main event picture? I don't think we needed that. Same thing with EO. I think the point of the secondary titles is A, to elevate those who need it, and B, to give others something important to fight for when they are not in that specific main event picture for whatever that PLE or the next 2 PLEs are. This is exactly what we needed it for. I look at what it's done for the character of Charlotte Flair, working with Liv Morgan. I think it's been really good for EO. And I think too with Rhea, we're seeing a little bit of a character development that's kind of there. We kind of saw this before when she palled around with Liv years ago and went for the tag team titles. I feel like this is an extension, a better version of what we had there, a more mature Rhea Ripley. And again, those names add an extreme value to that title. So I think it's good. I think the Kabuki Warriors, I think we're heading towards maybe the potential split between them to get Asuka back into a main event picture. And even if not, I think it's okay. They've kind of been the figureheads for the women's tag team division for WWE for the better part of the basically since Asuka came back and right before she went away. So aside from Asuka's, which was an extended 14, 15-month injury, you take the 2 bookend time periods of that, and then we're looking at 2 to 2.5 years of time that they've been the primary source for the women's tag team title. So I'm for it. I think it's great for them. It gives a meaning to it. All for it. Let's hit our hot tag segment. Again, hot tag and everything here on our show. It's brought to you by our doctor at specializedphysicaltherapy.com, Dr. Paul Vidal. Make sure you hit them up if you have any kind of physical ailments in need of little look ski. Eric, let's get your thoughts. What's your first? So our hot tag segment, we're going to try to make this. We've been doing hot tag for years, and really, it's a gloves off segment, right? It could be wrestling related. Sometimes it's pop culture related. Sometimes it's, hey, did you see this show? We're going to try to like make this more of a free yet structured thing, in that we don't want to get stuck in any long-term conversations, right? So hot tag is, I'm going to ask a question and pass it off to Eric, and then I'll give my quick take. Every topic we come up with, and we're going to try to do this usually the last 8 to 10 minutes of every show. No, we try to keep it no shorter than a minute, no longer than 2 minutes. Then we pass on to the next. Almost like a semi-extended version of the pardon the interruption roll call, I guess, at the end of the show. This is our version hot tag. So we're going to make this an everyday weekly thing on this Wednesday show. So, Eric, I'm going to kick it off here. SmackDown, huge return. Matt Cardona comes back. I want to get your thoughts. The intro video starts as Zack Ryder, and then they go into Matt Cardona. So your thoughts on his return, on being back with his name, it seems, which he's officially signed as they announced. And did you agree with calling back after we already did with the tournament, calling back to the Zack Ryder character to present Matt Cardona?
I'm extremely happy for Cardona on a personal level, because now he can actually see his wife more than probably once a week. I mean, I can't imagine how strained and how tough that's got to be, where your spouse is working for another company on one schedule, and you're working on a totally different schedule. So on a personal level, where, you know, my wife travels sometimes and she's only gone for a couple of days, maybe a week, and it's tough because somebody else has to pick it up. But then you're both out there doing that stuff. I can only imagine. But as far as the introduction, and I love that they paid homage to Zack Ryder in his entrance and everything like that. And I'm happy that he's back. I hope that not only is he back for the reason for seeing his wife, but he's back and they're going to utilize him. You know, that's the one thing I worry about with the roster right now, where there's guys that aren't being properly used. And you see that quite a bit. I mean, it's tough, right? AEW have the same thing. So we were saying earlier, it's a 3-hour SmackDown. So you got to fill it with talent, and you got to bump the roster up a little bit. And I think it's an excellent addition. It's a familiar face, and you know what you're going to get out of them. I hope we get of course, you're not going to get the deathmatch champion Matt Cardona in a WWE environment, but I hope we see an aggressive side of Cardona that we haven't seen on WWE TV. I'm curious to see where that goes. Of course, he'll get cheered for a little while, I'm sure, because of all the newness and the welcome back stuff. But I'm happy that he's back. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. It's hot tag, right? Love that he's back. Love that he's back with his name. I thought that should have been the initial thing. And he did do that. In hindsight, I'm cool with them going with the Zack Ryder name, considering that was who John Cena had his interactions with, right? In that universe of that tournament, it was Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder. Totally fine with that. Would have hated it if he came back as Zack Ryder. I hate that they did the Zack Ryder thing in the intro. I don't think you need it. I think that people know who this man is. You're not doing anything to familiarize the audience. He's been on your television program a number of times, including that high-profile match. I don't think you needed that at all. So, hate that. Don't want to see the callback to Zack Ryder when he's done so much work to make the Matt Cardona name and brand mean something enough to get back to the company. I hope that we get him as a heel. I don't want the pandering babyface Zack Ryder run. I want what we saw in TNA with him and Chelsea. I think that him and Chelsea as a unit, as heels, could be incredible. So that's what I'm hoping to see. I'm very excited for him as well. He's a phenomenal talent and a very entertaining guy. So what do you got for me, Eric?
So last night on NXT, Obafemi successfully defends his title. And at the very end, the championship is on the stage. And it was reported today by WWE that Obafemi has vacated the NXT World title, as it looks like he's heading to the main roster. My question for you is, do you like what they did with him vacating the title versus losing? And do you think, what do you expect from him? Do you think that they're going to push him to the top of the card right away?
So this is a great topic to bring up as well, Eric, because my follow-up is also NXT related. So great topic to bring up. We've seen the title vacated before. Asuka, I believe, did the same thing. This is not anything new. When they have a talent who, obviously, in terms of their creative with NXT, there is no intention of doing any damage to that character going forward. It typically means there's a big spot for them. Now, we talked about Asuka. There were some fumblings with her. I don't think that's going to happen here. I don't think it's a coincidence that this man's coming up in a year that it's rumored that Brock Lesnar's going away and that they've already started the comparisons. This guy is going to come in. He is going to be the new beast of the main roster. I'm very excited for him. He's tremendously talented. He looks like $1 million. He can work with anybody. He can talk with anybody. I mean, this guy has legend written all over him. It's a very exciting time for Obafemi. Love the vacating of the title. And it does create an opportunity for somebody else. If this was the goal, I love Leon Slater. I think his potential is through the roof. But he would not have been the guy to take Oba down on the way out. He's a guy that maybe you give him that, and then Oba comes back, like he did with Ricky Starks. Or Ricky Saints. He comes back and then he gets his win back. Leon was not the guy to do that there, but he looks great too, I think, coming out of this.
Yeah.
Love it. Go ahead.
No, I love it. I think you protect him. You protected him against Cody. You protect him here.
And Drew.
And Drew, yeah. You made him look like $1 million with Drew. And I'm sure, like you said, and if you've seen on Lazy Booking Podcast TV, I'm going to talk about Royal Rumble moments on Anecdotes with Arch. And I think we may see a Royal Rumble moment with Obafemi and maybe Brock Lesnar, maybe Drew McIntyre. We shall see, but I am really excited for him. And like you said, they had the promo for him on Raw. There's definitely an intention to make him look like a big star right away.
Yeah, I think Oba goes to SmackDown. Quick last point on this. I think Oba goes to SmackDown. I think you hit the money on the head. I think Drew gets him out in the Rumble. He's gotten the upper hand on Drew. Drew gets the upper hand on him. This is going to lead to a WrestleMania program. I think we're just going to get two monsters against each other, which I'm all for it.
Definitely.
This is without the title involved. This is the Drew and Brock Lesnar story that we saw that started at Rumble right before COVID hit. I think we're going to get a reprieve without the title involved. Well, actually, what if Drew gets that win against Cody and we get Oba and Drew at Mania? I'm in.
I'm in too, but how many times this guy is going to lose?
I know.
And we'll
Russo talked about it.
See what happens on Friday. He's gonna talk himself back into it, and that guy's got the law. Like, I know it's scripted television, but how many times do you need to look? Do you need to pick yourself back up after a loss?
He's the can't fail. He's got the can't fail labeling. NXT. Speaking of NXT, you brought it up. My final topic here. We've already seen people now in place. Javon Evans is going to Raw. That was announced on, I think, social media. I don't recall seeing. Did he appear on Raw? Did I miss that?
So, if you have a VPN or you live internationally, you would have seen during the commercial break that Leon Slater was out there and he was introduced as the newest member of the Raw roster. So, but those of us in the United States or don't have VPN, you got it online. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh no. Also, Jordan Grace looks like she's going to be coming up. There's rumors now that Blake Monroe is going to come up to the roster. So I'm all for it. I think the only thing is, and I know the Royal Rumble's coming up, so I'm sure they want to get some names in the Royal Rumble match from NXT, and you're going to bulk up the roster a little bit. But my concern is we're already not utilizing some of the talent properly. It's just more talent that's added to that roster, and hopefully they book it right, and hopefully they utilize them correctly. There's so much talent at NXT, and you can only hold them so much in NXT. You got to bring them up to the big brand and see if they can sink or swim. I'm excited to see what happens. I hope they don't mess it up with Oba. I think Ricky Saints and Ethan Page and Izzy Dame looked great last night. She just won the North American title. I'm sure she'll be there for a while, but I mean, Tatum Paxley, there's so much talent waiting in the wings. I mean, we're an old roster, right? WWE is an old roster right now. It's only a matter of time before they're coming up, but I think the internet wrestling community seems to be very impatient about when they're bringing people up, and I'm a victim of going and scrolling, and I say it to myself every week. I'm like, why am I keep putting myself through this with these guys and gals? I don't know. But my last question is, how you feeling about Sunday with the Eagles and the 49ers?
My initial reaction was I'd rather have faced Green Bay. Nick Sirianni can talk about health and all that. Okay, listen, last year it worked out for them. They weren't talking about seeding. We were talking a 2,000-yard rusher. Totally different ball game. And this is not my original. I mean, it's my original feelings, but the take has been kind of confirmed by others. So I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said in terms of this. The Eagles at home in the playoffs over the last 20 years has been unbelievable. Every chance you have to play at home, you do it. That being said, and by the way, what happened last year with the number 2 seed? The number 1 seed got upset. You ended up with home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So to not play for that, I don't care what any justification anyone tries to say. I love our esteemed owner, Big Dad, on Wednesdays and on Sundays, and sometimes Thursdays. He's been on here and he talked about it. He thinks that Nick made the right call. You're entitled to your opinion. It's not a foolish opinion for anybody to believe that this was not setting your team up for the best potential setup to go forward. You didn't even play everybody. Play half of your starters for half of the game.
So I don't know if you been following Hard Knocks.
I do think Birds win, though.
You think the Birds win? Okay.
I think the Birds win. I think Saquon finally might have a big game here because their run defense for San Francisco stinks out loud.
Well, their pass defense isn't all that great either.
Yeah.
They're down a few. I think. Well, they're down. Warner's out, but then I think they've got a couple in the secondary that are backups too. But I don't know if you caught Hard Knocks last night. That just made me even more mad because they have the team meeting and he's like, so we're gonna sit a couple people and some people are gonna dress and then some of you will see more playing time than normal. But we're going in there to win the effing game. You really? And I agree with Big Dad. I agree that they should have rested their starters. However, my big thing is, did you game plan enough to win that game? My God. Tanner McKee threw 40 times. 40 times. Tank 0 runs from Tank Bigsby, who was
a beast.
Who was a beast in the first 3 quarters, and you decide that multiple times that you decide to throw the ball on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. The starters, I think the decision, nobody would be upset if they would have won this game. They should have won the game with the backups.
Yeah.
Washington stinks. Terrible.
Well, so just to be clear on this, my thing when I say with Tom that I disagree is that I don't think it's an awful take for people to have the opinion that they need the number 2 seed.
Oh,
Or that there are people who believe that protecting, and I'm not implying they should have played an entire game. I don't believe the starters should have played a whole game. I'm talking starters get in there and you scoreboard watch. Play half of them.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little less. Play 3 of them.
I mean,
they didn't play anybody.
I mean, if you look around the league, I think the only team that didn't play starters was the Chargers.
Yeah, I think
Green Bay. Green Bay.
Yeah. I think Jalen should have played the first quarter.
Yeah.
I don't even need a half. Give him a chance to go out there and get. And listen, you could say in hindsight, well, they were able to put points up pretty early. That the Eagles were the number 1 most efficient offense in the red zone entering that game. They did not look efficient in the red zone in this game because they would have been up by a lot more points. They left Jake Elliott in, which is good because that dude needed confidence. But that's where I say I disagree with Tom. I think health is extremely valuable.
Yeah,
but it's the idea that the number 2 seed, anyone who believes the number 2 seed is what this team needed. 2 things can be right, I guess is what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think though that they could go on the road and beat any of these teams if the team. I'm saying if
I don't feel good about this team on the road right now.
If the offense puts up more than 21 points a game, which has been very, very tough for them this year. The defense, I think, shows up no matter what. I think Vic has done a remarkable job. I think the defense is better this year than it was last year.
It's the best defense they've had in maybe even more. I know they had all those sacks in 2021 or 2022.
This defense is better.
When you look at secondary and you look at the trenches, and you look at the linebacker position, this is the best defense they've had since Jim Johnson was a part of the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff.
Without question, I agree. But I wouldn't be surprised either way of the outcome. But I think the Eagles squeak it out. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it'll be like a 23-20 or a 20-17. But I think the defense shows up, and I think you get enough from Jalen because, say what you will, the dude shows up in the postseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, agreed. I don't think 21 points is enough. 20 points is not enough for this football team. I've said it on the last few shows that we've done in terms of football shows with Brian.
Yeah.
Benchmark for this team is 24 to 25 points. If they can do over that, I think they have a chance to win with how good their defense is. But they've proven, as good as this defense is, if they can't stay on the field and that defense wears down by the fourth quarter, 21 points is not enough. They need to get to at least 20, I think 24, 26 points.
And
so
I'm
going birds in this real quick. I'm going birds 26, 21,
Okay.
24.
Yeah.
We'll go 24.
The one thing that the Niners do really well is they move the ball and they take time of possession. They typically dominate time of possession. If the Eagles are going 3 and out, like they have done substantially throughout the season, it may be a long day for the defense because of them getting worn out.
1000%. This was a fun show. Good show. Appreciate you guys. I've been trying to keep an eye. So next week's show, maybe a different time as well. We do not have a confirmation on that, but we may have a guest for next week. In which case, if that is the case, our show will be at 1 p.m. If it is not the case, our show will be at our regular time of 6 p.m. on Tuesday, or 5:30, 6 o'clock, give or take, whatever we're feeling that night.
Put that notification, subscribe so you don't miss when we're on.
Yes.
Do it now. Do it now.
Yeah, you're going to know. Also, give us a follow on all of our social media platforms.
Yes, please.
Particularly on the Instagram, both for us and for A2D Radio. And obviously on our YouTube as well. We have a Facebook. We're not as active on it. But on our Instagram and our Facebook, we'll post when the show's going to be. Again, particularly if we get this guest, we'll be posting the graphic anyway. So you'll know if a graphic comes up with a talent's face, that it's a 1 p.m. start time.
And this talent, I guarantee if we have them on, we will be definitely talking Royal Rumble and their experiences with the 30 men or women match.
Yes, agreed. Usually around the time of the big fours, as our viewers know, we try to have a guest on. So we're just waiting for a confirmation on that. I didn't get it, unfortunately, today. Should know by tomorrow. But thank you to our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. Check him out at that site, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Next week, we'll have some announcements on upcoming programming as well as on some exclusives that we're going to do. I think me and Eric are going to hammer out the date of the 92 Rumble watch party where we are going to do this together. And
it's not fair to Flair.
It's not fair to Flair. Oh, we should do it on a weekend so we can make it like a drinking game and like play the live drinking game on air. Maybe I'll just invite people on to do it with us. But listen, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're just doing the match. We're not doing the main event or the other matches. And we're going to try to fit in at least that one. We're going to maybe even try to get a second Rumble in, as well as we'll have our Royal Rumble preview show, recap show. We may do a live reaction. Me and Eric are going to discuss if we're available that day. That would be cool as well. So until then, thank you, Eric, as always, for your contributions to the show today. Tremendous job, my friend.
Well, thank you. You as well. And thank you, everybody, for all your support, and continue to follow us on the social media platforms. And this, hopefully this time of year is always my favorite. And I'm really excited to cover past and present Royal Rumbles. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. To Eric's point, this is much as I feel for week 1 of the NFL season, when we start hitting the road to the Rumble, this is week 1 of the NFL season for me. Right. So I think we're getting ready to buckle up and lock in for the rest of the season. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming, and we're very excited about it. And same thing here with A2D Radio, guys. Lots of playoff content coming your way, including tonight, the Wednesday night show, A2D Wednesday night with Tom, Greg, Luke, Mikey Buckets, Ryan, whoever else is on with those guys. I've been a part of that show. I haven't been for a while because I've been focused on the wrestling end of trying to make sure we get this thing going the right way. But man,
Do we have Flyers talk tonight? They're on a tear too.
that was last night
Oh, that's right.
because we're thrown off by a day.
Man,
But
what a difference a day makes.
what a difference a day makes. Yeah, and listen, I talked to our old buddy Brian as well. Saturday or Sunday morning, we may, I'm not promising same thing, check our socials. We may be able to do a Philadelphia Eagles playoff preview. So notate for yourself as well if you're available. And if not, all good. But we're going to try to see if he can fit us in. He's got a very busy weekend.
I'm
So
sure he does.
if he can, awesome. Then hopefully we get another week and maybe we can do it the following week. But yeah, lots of cool stuff coming up. Stay tuned tonight. I believe they're going on at 10:15. Set your alerts about 4.5 hours from now. Hockey player. So now you got me talking hockey. NFL playoff talk, Birds talk with the best crew in the business. So for myself, for Eric, for everybody here at A2D Radio, Tom Arnone, and all of our colleagues who we love and appreciate for helping to drive the machine that is A2D Radio and motivate us to be a better version of ourselves. And to everybody out there, grab somebody you love. As Andy says, tell someone you love them, give them a hug. And we're out of here.
We out. Take
Happy
care,
New Year. Go Birds.
Woo!
Smell you later.